I do not cry in public, let alone being recorded on a live podcast. But really, that meant the world. And yeah, these doors don't open and these spaces aren't created without other women and allies opening and helping people up.
This Black History Month, my pick for our A3 Black Athlete Spotlight is an accomplished professional soccer player, a standout collegiate athlete, a commanding front office presence, an outstanding soccer analyst and commentator, and someone who has always ensured that the doors she's walked through professionally, personally, stay propped open for Black athletes choosing similar paths. And no, that's not actually 5 different people. I'm extremely proud to be able to say it's our very own force to be reckoned with, Darian Jenkins. To become a pro athlete, it requires talent, technique, hard work, and sacrifice, but let's not forget access and visibility. In short, you need to be exceptional. To become a Black woman pro athlete in a predominantly white sport like soccer, you need to be all of that and have unshakable self confidence to help you traverse all of the stereotypes, criticism, and assumptions. And there will be many. You need to be extraordinary. Darian's path to extraordinary started in Utah kicking a ball. It saw her into U.S. national team camps and tournaments from U14 through U23. It brought her to UCLA, where she staked her claim as a freshman standout to what would amount to a collegiate career as a 4-year starter, a champion, and an impressive collection of personal honors. While that's exceptional all on its own, there's added context. The number of Black players in D1 college soccer has sat firmly between 5 and 7% over the 10 years spanning 2013 to 2023. That is being extraordinary. Darian's path continued, but not without a setback, a season ending injury, a broken fibula, and compound fracture of her tibia her senior year for the Bruins, and lengthy recovery. Despite the injury and ongoing recovery, Darian was the first Black player selected in the 2017 NWSL draft, going first round, 7th pick, and in great company with the subsequent first round picks being rounded out by Ifeoma Onumonu, Midge Purse, and Mandy Freeman. Again, exceptional all on its own, but with the context, on par with D1 soccer, roughly 7.5% of NWSL players at this time were Black women. In that year, 2019, there were 32 players rostered across the entire league that were Black players. Darian Jenkins was one of them. When we talk about this league's evolution, and we often do, and the players who have helped shape it, that is extraordinary. Darian's playing career brought her to North Carolina, Utah, Melbourne, Bordeaux, Kansas City, and Orlando before she decided to hang up her boots. A career well stamped in the books, though not quite ready to close the book entirely. She was eager to start a new chapter, the post-playing career. Darian never once strayed from the game. Instead, she took on a leadership role with the front office at Gotham FC as chief of staff. Not terribly dissimilar or surprising at this point from D1 college stats nor NWSL player stats. There are very few Black women holding positions in many front offices nor coaching roles, but there she was, extraordinary. It wasn't until this point that I came to know Darian, and I can speak as someone with a literal, at times, and metaphorical front row seat to her evolution and success in media and as an analyst and commentator when she joined CBS. From there, she's brightly shined and become vied for asset on any desk. Darian is intelligent, insightful, passionate, diligent, funny, and an all around great teammate. Everyone has a unique lens for how they view the game, but I especially enjoy the opportunities to see it through hers and how she articulates certain players and movements and breakdowns. A standout moment on the desk was actually the announcement of the U.S. women's national team attacking trio of Rodman, Swanson, and Smith, now Wilson. Darian's genuine jubilation, "My top line is Black," was the culmination of what for decades elite Black players had worked for, had hoped for, had contributed toward, what she also had contributed toward. And in that moment, I wondered if she realized that. It was a reminder of how much visibility matters and how much work was put in by Black women soccer players to arrive in a time where see it, be it is a reality. And in that same spirit, Black women in the media space, like Darian, help kill the harmful dialogue of pace and power around Black soccer players in both commentary and analysis. It's vital to the success of soccer to have the best diverse voices like Darian's amplified. It's exceptional. With that added context, as of 2023, roughly 6% of journalists across both genders are Black. 20% of sports media are women. That is what makes her extraordinary. Here's Darian in her own words.
Where I still get that same joy. I get to talk about my friends. I get to highlight players and speak about Black players, and players can relate to Black players in a way that isn't just based around their athleticism and their speed and their strength. It's around the amazing things they do on and off the pitch, how tactical they are, how technical, creative they are, their style, how they're driving culture, how they're bringing so much positivity to the NWSL, to women's soccer and women's sports in general, and just highlighting how amazing these humans are. So that's been honestly the biggest blessing and most unexpected thing that's happened in my life, especially post retiring. That's been really, really great for me. And I think the biggest way I've been able to make an impact and get back to a sport.
Feel good.
It's just like
Sorry,
dead
guys.
air. Dead air.
I
need to bring the poster board because I still got the poster board back there. I could have propped it up.
Let's go.
Your diagram.
I
My
am
little diagram.
crying.
Maybe there's still some planets in
Yeah.
it from 6th grade, but you know what? Like, it would have worked.
Oh,
This is
Chrissy,
all Cupo, but we love you, Darian.
I love you guys so much. Thank you. That really meant a lot. It's been
It
a long
felt
journey. So
it would be
thank you.
remiss to have all the conversations that we've had around here addressing your contemporaries and their role in this league, but women's soccer, women's media, without actually spotlighting you. And I felt like it was a must do.
I'm really honored. Thank you so much. That was a huge surprise and very, very sweet of you. Guys, I'm not an emotional person by any means. I do not cry in public, let alone being recorded on a live podcast. But really, that meant the world. And yeah, these doors don't open and these spaces aren't created without other women and allies opening and helping people up, and really supporting and advocating for these spaces to be more diverse. And so I appreciate you guys so much. And Cupo, thank you. That was probably one of the sweetest things somebody has ever said about me or done for me. So really, thank you. It feels really, really good to be seen, especially during this month.
Christine, excellent.
And I love you.
Excellent job. Excellent job. Darian.
Oh, I'm just proud I didn't start openly sobbing. I literally ran through that over and over and over again because I was like, you could just keep reading, just read the words that you wrote, just read the words.
I know you weren't even looking up in a
I
effort
couldn't
to not
because
cry.
at one point
No.
I honestly looked up once and I saw you and Darian and I was like, I can't look up again.
Darian, everything Christine said is so true. I mean, you've done so much, even just, I mean, from my experience, I got to call your games, which was so cool. And now working with us on A3, and you have brought so much to this space. And you are also one of the most humble people I know. And the fact that Christine touched on all of this and all of your accolades and things, I want you to think about and let us know, like, what has anyone ever said to you, little girls? I know, like, you've met Savvy King, like you met so many young players while you were playing. And take off your humble hat for a minute. Have you opened doors, or what doors would you like to continue to open for all the young Black players coming behind you?
Yeah, I think I have opened doors. I think visibility is one of the most important things that we can have, is being able to see yourself in any type of space, whether it being on an all-white team in Salt Lake City or going to UCLA that's majority white, and being a standout player there, or getting drafted and playing professionally around the world and across the US. I think that visibility is so important, and always being very true. I think something I can say is like, I've always been very true to myself. And I think being that, I do realize that there's weight behind me being a Black woman in these spaces, and especially now being on TV and wearing my hair naturally all the time. That is something people come up to me and say and feel very empowered by. And it's not something that I've truly thought that deeply about until maybe last year, when I got so many comments and people coming up to me and saying things like this, and people just feeling seen and validated about how I talk about my former teammates and Black players coming into the league, and not shying away from conversations about misrepresentations, or maybe not giving Black players the credit they deserve. Or even a big conversation right now is the proper medical care that is that Black players receive as opposed to white players. And I think the way that I'm able to advocate and the fact that I have the stage and now teammates in this media space, I love you guys so much, that allow me to, is huge. And it's cool to see now, Lisa, I think you and I were talking about this, how many other former players now want to get into media. Like I absolutely love that, from all races. And that's exactly how it should be. Soccer is the world sport, and the media spaces that talk about it should also reflect it. So I appreciate you guys so much. And thank you, Christine, for doing that and all your guys' kind words. I did not expect to cry today. I feel like I'm a mess.
You're not.
I have the luckiest job in the world. So thank you guys. This transition has not been easy, but you guys have made it something that I really love to do. So thank you.
We're not crying. We were just up really late and out at the club last night. It's the bummer.
I want to ask you, because you are in the media space and looking specifically through this lens, how can journalists, reporters, analysts, hosts better support Black athletes, specifically women in the NWSL?
I mean, it's creating space to have conversations around them. I think it's easy when, the prototype of what a good player looks like has typically been white, especially in the US for so long. And now we look like, one of you brought it up, like Christine, our front line is Black for the US. Like triple espresso was a thing during the Olympics. Like we're still talking about triple espresso. And I think not defining Black players by their pace and how strong they are and look at how physical they are, which, yes, those are important qualities when you're playing, of course. But there's so much more that comes to playing at this level and what these athletes do and how they get into positions and what they do on the ball and tactically how they're seeking things out. Like Tim Washawinga is one of the most tactically savvy players I've ever seen play. Same with Barbara Banda. But it's so easy to get caught up in those very singular descriptive ways of talking about a player when there's so much more to their game. And I think it's equally highlighting everybody. The player that scores the goal isn't always the one that had the best game. And so I think just having those conversations, creating space, if you're in a room of 30 people and none of them are of a person of color, you should ask questions about why that is and do something to affect change. And I think we're doing that now. I love that we're highlighting players, and thank you so much, Christine, for doing this for Black History Month. But this is something that should be done all year long. It shouldn't just be a month, which is a bigger conversation. But I think that's a way to start incorporating and affecting change of how we look and speak and share space with people of color.
Darian, thank you. Thank you. Didn't mean for you to put on a speech for us, but I love this in the best way. We love you so much, Christine. Well done. As Greg says on our YouTube page,